So guys, let's get seated, comfortably seated. I want you to think cross legs. If that's uncomfortable for your knees, feel free to take the legs out straight in front. And also, you want to kind of wiggle around, get kind of wiggled into your mat, and pull the butt cheeks out if you have to. Get those sits bones centered on your mat so that you feel nice and centered and grounded here, comfortable here. If you're feeling like you want a little bit more of a hip opener tonight, then always feel free to take it into half lotus, meaning we're going to take one foot and tuck it into the hip crease. And then if you really want to open up both hips, you can always try for full lotus. And let's say you get here and you're like, wow, that was a terrible idea. Just unfold the legs, right? I don't ever want you to feel like you're stuck in a pose. If you're doing something that does not feel comfortable, please take a step back. I typically will gradually build up the pose. Don't ever feel bad or judged about taking yourself back a notch. Even if some classes you want to whip out tripods and headstands and crows and all this crazy stuff, and then some night you might just feel like, you know, maybe easy seated is where I'm at tonight. Totally okay. So go with what feels good for you tonight. Finding yourself in that comfortable position, we are going to sit up nice and tall and resting the hands gently, the palms gently on the knees. Start to roll the shoulders down and back. So taking a big inhale, exhale, drop those shoulders down as far as you can. Think about having a pair of wings on your back, and you want to drop those wings down towards the ground and lift your chest, opening up your heart. This is where I want you to stay, and I invite you to close your eyes here. I'm going to start some music now, and just try to relax and clear your mind a little bit. As thoughts come in, let them go out just as quickly.
Can't in between us. Tell me how you're feeling, cause I can't stand the distance. You know.
As we come into our comfortable seated position, if you feel the need to move around at all, feel free to adjust, feel free to sway, whatever you need to do. But keep the spine nice and tall, keep the chest open so that we are allowing energy to flow in and out, keeping the heart open.
You know it's an issue. Come a little closer, we can start talking. You can come on, we can sleep on it, and lay it all on the floor, the way we've done it before. The nights you let me inside, can you let me tonight? Tell me why it feels like there's a grand canyon between us. Tell me how you're feeling, cause I can't stand.
Feel free to take some neck rolls here if you want to sway that head side to side. We're not going to do a neck series at the beginning of class per se, so just take a few moments here, maybe dipping side to side, maybe all the way around, maybe taking the head down, taking the head up, anything to loosen any tension in your neck. And I encourage you to keep your eyes closed while you do this and just feel the muscles stretching as far as they need to go. No need to see what anyone else is doing. Just feel in your own body what feels good.
The nights you let me inside. Come on, you know it's alright. Tell me why it feels like.
Try not to slouch as you're starting to move around a little bit more. Find these gentle stretches, keeping the spine tall.
Stand the distance. You know we started with love and still isn't enough to believe in us. Tell me why it feels like there's a grand canyon.
Maybe take a couple modified cat-cow stretches here. So keeping the chest nice and open, we're going to very gently stretch forward and maybe round slightly back, curving through the spine. Using those knees to help you stretch a little bit further back and only taking it as far as feels good.
Stand the distance. You know we started with love and still is enough to believe in us. Tell me why it feels like there's a grand canyon.
And coming back to nice neutral seated position. Let's breathe in one more time. Lift those shoulders up. Exhale. Pull your wings down. Perfect. We're going to stay in the seated position for just a few more moments. You're welcome to stay in half lotus or lotus if you're there. If you want to uncross or come to easy seated as we move into some stretches, that's perfectly okay too. We're going to start by taking the right hand down to the mat next to you. Lift that left arm up overhead and really focus the energy on stretching through the side body here. If you can, take your gaze up under the armpits so you're looking up towards the ceiling. If it wasn't raining, I'd say we'd be looking up towards the sky. Finally, we had a day warm enough, but it had to rain. Now from here, guys, if you want to keep the hand planted, you're welcome to stay right there. If you want to try to take it a little bit deeper, maybe go for pushing that forearm all the way down. Make sure that that hip is not lifting off the mat if you go for that stretch. Really stretching through that side body. We want it to feel good here. Your obliques will appreciate this later, I promise. You take it on up, switching sides. Start with the fingertips down on the ground. Stretch the right arm overhead and reach. Gaze up under the armpit there. And again, you have that option to take the forearm all the way down or taking the elbow down. Just make sure that the right hip is not lifting off the ground. And we focus that stretch, reach a little bit further. Confidence was shaking. And inhale back up to center. One last time. Big inhale, shrug those shoulders up. Exhale, drop them down. Whew, hopefully letting a little bit more tension go every time we do that. If you have legs crossed, we're going to take legs out straight in front. Take your time on crossing. Give the ankles a little bit of a wiggle here, a little bit of circle both directions. Some of the muscles we don't always pay so much attention to. Let's give them a little bit of extra love tonight. Especially if you had high heels on today. I did not. I had slippers on all day. And then once you give the ankles a nice little wiggle, taking the legs out straight in front, sit up nice and tall. I always like to encourage us to put our hands right on our thighs because it kind of makes you want to sit up a little bit straighter. Feels so proper here. Instead of hands down by the sides, it's just a little bit more tempting to slouch. From here, we're going to inhale the arms on up, keeping the chest lifted, hinge at the waist, forward fold. Chest lifted means we're keeping the back flat. We're not rounding through, trying to tuck the chin. We're lifting up. So don't worry about how far your hands are getting or how close to your feet your hands are. Not important. You just want to focus on a stretch running up the back of your legs. Imagine it coming all the way up the spine. And then you're lifting forward to stretch through the back of the neck as well. This should feel good, so if you're feeling any pain, ease up a little bit. As you exhale, sink just a little bit deeper. But again, we don't want to crush the organs. We don't want to curl down. Keep the chest lifted. And slowly roll it on up, dragging the hands along the legs. We come back to that nice, tall, seated position. We're going to start with some glute stretches. We usually save these for the end, but I want to loosen us up before we get into our lunges tonight. So taking the right foot up, we're going to tuck the foot into the left elbow. We take the right elbow, wrap it around the knee, and we're going to hug that leg up. Make sure you're not leaning back here. We want to sit up nice and tall, and then pull that leg in as close to your chest. Imagine you're cradling a little baby right here. You can rock side to side. Tonight is having fun, playfulness, and rocking babies. While you're rocking that baby, make sure that you're still pushing that left foot down. The left leg is not really getting a break here. It's pushing down to keep us grounded here. Pull it a little bit closer, last breath. Focusing that energy on the right glute stretch here. Exhale, release that leg down. Give the legs a little wiggle. Taking the opposite leg up, wrapping the right armpit, no, that'd be a little bit harder. The right elbow around the bottom of the foot. You can go for it if you want to. I'll turn the camera around on you if you do. The left elbow around the knee, and then pull that leg into the chest, sitting up nice and tall. No leaning back here, no rounding through the spine. And then maybe take a little sway. So much fun. Push that right leg down into the ground so we're still grounding there. I'll be all right. And then coming back to center on our last inhale. Squeeze that leg in a little bit tighter. Really get that glute stretched out. Exhale, release that leg down. Shake the arms. A little bit of work there in the upper body. We're going to get more into that in just a moment. So come on into all fours. We're going to start with some wrist stretches tonight. We're going to work our way up through some shoulder stretches, and then we're going to work our way all the way to shoulder work. So, coming into all fours, you want to position your shoulders right over the wrists. Your hips are stacked right over the knees, and your knees are about hip width apart. Our back is going to be nice and neutral, so nice flat back here. We're neither dumping the belly down towards the ground, and we're not rounding it up. We're perfectly neutral here. I'm going to turn facing you guys so you can see what I'm doing with my hands here. The first stretch that we're going to do is you're just going to take your right hand, lift the right hand, and then flip the fingers back. So the top of your hand comes down to the mat. Be very gentle here. If you haven't done this stretch a lot, it can feel pretty intense right here on that forearm. Very normal. So just be gentle, pushing the back of the hand down into the mat. Try not to shift your weight way over to the left. We want to stay centered here and just hold this stretch for just a few moments, just a few breaths here. Allowing that stretch part of the arm that we don't stretch very often. If this feels good to you and you want to try taking it a teeny bit deeper, you're going to shift the hips back ever so slightly, just about there. You'll feel it. It doesn't need to be a big shift. Keep the belly pulled in so the back is nice and neutral. Hold here, one more breath. And slowly release that hand. Very, very slowly take it back down towards our mat, palm facing down, and we're just going to place it there to put a little bit of weight back into it. Christy, is that music really loud to you? Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay, good. So hanging out right here for just a moment. Allow that muscle to kind of return back to its normal position. And then you're going to take the fingers and instead of flipping the top of the hand, you're going to turn the fingers back towards your torso. Or towards your knees. And so the palm is still down on the mat. And now you're feeling the stretch through that underside of your forearm. Any bowlers in here? This is a great stretch for bowlers. Well, maybe this will help. So gently ease yourself into that stretch as well. We don't want to go too hard, but if this feels good, again, and you want to take it a little bit deeper, tiny shift of the hips back. Giving a little extra love to these parts of our arms that don't get these fabulous stretches so often. If you shifted the hips back, come back to center. Very slowly and gently lift that hand. We want to come back to that beginning position, but we want to do it nice and slow so that we give the muscle a moment to return to its expected state. Everyone good? All right, let's do the other side, shall we? Left hand lifts up. This time we flip so that the back of the hand is coming down onto the mat. This one can cause a little bit of discomfort, so again, be very gentle. We don't want it to hurt. We just want to work on stretching those muscles. This one is a great stretch for if you work on a keyboard or you're typing at a computer, carpal tunnel. This is a really good stretch for that. If you have carpal tunnel, you want to be extra, extra careful here. Don't put much pressure at all. And if you want to practice this at home, and this is a sensitive stretch, put a towel or a pillow even underneath your hand. If you want more, we're going to shift those hips ever so slightly back. Keep that belly pulled in. Keep breathing. And then shift it forward and very gently release that hand. Bring it back to our starting position. Give it a moment to find the muscles back where we were. Take a breath here before we change to that other stretch. From here, instead of flipping the hand, we keep the palm down on the mat, but we turn the fingers back towards our knee. So now we're stretching that forearm, the under part of the forearm. Find whatever position is comfortable for you here, whether that's staying right here or shifting back.
Nothing's promised to me.
breath here. Great job. Bringing that hand back to center. Allow a moment here to let that hand feel like it did when we started. And then we're going to keep the knees exactly where they are right now. You should be in the middle or towards the back of your mat. Your knees should not be towards the front of your mat because your hands are going to come off the mat if you are. From here, starting in all fours, we're going to walk the hands out, keeping the hips stacked over the knees. So we're not moving the hips at all. We're just going to slowly walk the hands out and start to lower the chest down towards the mat. You may want to go nice and slow, finding it comfortable. Naturally, your hips are going to want to shift forward. If that's the case, step your hands back ever so slightly. We're taking it down to puppy dog pose. So we slowly lower the chest, maybe eventually getting the forehead down to the ground. If you can get there, then think about melting the shoulders down. Maybe the forearms can come down to the ground. Pushing the chest down towards the mat, and just allow your chest and shoulders to open up here. Take deep breaths. That's going to help allow those muscles to release. Two more breaths here. On your next inhale, keeping the forearms glued to the mat. This is going to get fun. Are you ready? Feeling some shoulder work coming at you here. We're going to shift forward. So our knees are still touching the ground. We're shifting our weight forward. And then slowly come down. Pull the belly in. We're going to pause. And then push on back. We're not pushing all the way back to child. We're stacking those hips over the knees. We come back to puppy dog. Very slow and controlled here. We're just warming up the shoulders. Shifting forward, keeping those forearms down on the ground. The elbows should be right in line with your wrist, and you shift forward, pull the core in as if you're going to come all the way down to Sphinx, but you stop and then you go back. One more just like that. This time, I do want you to drop the belly all the way down so you can release the knees, you straighten out the legs, drop the belly, and lift the chest coming into Sphinx. Good? Everyone feeling good here? So if you're feeling any low pain here, low back pain, excuse me, then lower down a little bit. You just want to make sure you're not shrugging into the shoulders. So you can move the hands a little bit further out if you need to. And we're going to take it up a notch. From here, guys, I want to, before we go through this next series, I want to do a quick message on chaturanga because it's a pose that it's very easy for people to get injured in. So I want to make sure that we're doing it correctly. So you guys can stay laying on your belly for a quick little demo. When you get into your chaturanga pose, oftentimes we are coming from plank pose down into chaturanga. So we're up here, your elbows stay glued into the sides, and the goal is to get the arms down at 90 degrees here. Very hard to hold that. That's normal. But that's where I want you to be. Usually we lower on down. Tonight, we're pushing back up. This is why I want you to practice a chaturanga pose before we start to push back up, because I don't want anyone injuring their elbows. Important things to think of are keeping the elbows glued into the sides. You also want to keep your neck above the shoulders. I'm not trying to scare you by saying you're going to get injured. It's nothing too serious. I just want you to keep those elbows glued in. You're pulling in through the sides, palms are down, and then you want to get to that 90 degree. If your elbows are too far forward, you're not going to get a 90 degree. So, that being said, let's all practice together, shall we? Come on up to plank. So finding ourselves in a nice strong plank, you really want to keep your core strong through this because that's going to help with the weight. If this is hard for you, and trust me, this is not an easy pose, this is a difficult one, the best thing you can do is to come down to your knees and modify and practice child's pose push-ups. So a child's pose push-up is when we take our knees really wide. Let's practice with knees down if that's feeling difficult, just to see that what that 90 degree feels like. Straighten through the body, lower down, arms come to 90. See if you can hold it, and then push back up. That's hard from the knees, right? We're going to try it from the toes. So if that's hard enough, you stay there. If that's too hard, take the knees wider, and you're going to do the same move. Come forward, push down, push back up. That's going to be a little bit easy with knees wide. So find whatever works great. If you want to try the full position, you're going to hear me grunt on this one. You find yourself in full plank. You lower down, chaturanga, hold, breathe, pause, push back up, use that core, and you find down dog. Whew! Did we do it?
Nope.
I told you it was hard. I warned you first, right? Drop back down to the knees. Shift forward. Come to up dog. So we're on up dog, we're going to straighten the arms. We lift the thighs off the mat. Just the tops of the toes and tops of the feet, and the palms are touching. Tuck the toes, push the hips up. Down dog. Ready to repeat? Good. Shift forward, high plank. If we're modifying, come down to the knees or come to child's pose. Drop down, chaturanga, hold, breathe. Push back up, down dog. Woo! Shifting forward all the way, plank, don't stop at plank. Come all the way down to up dog. Can we do one more?
Sure.
All right, tuck those toes, hips come up, down dog. Remember, take breaks as needed. Last one, you guys, shift forward, high plank. Knees if needed, come down, chaturanga, hold, breathe. Push back up, pull that core in. Down dog. Woo. Shift forward, plank. Don't stop at plank. Come all the way through. Release those toes, up dog. Breathe here. One more breath. Exhale, push the hips back, knees wide. Child's pose. Good work. You feel a little shoulder burn there, maybe. Ooh. Hang out here. Take those hands down by your sides, behind you, palms face up. Give those shoulders a little bit of a break. Sorry for the feedback out of it. Let the forehead rest on the mat, and really just let those arms relax. Wasn't that fun? You did great, guys. Take the hands back out in front. And we're going to take the left arm underneath the right, thread the needle. Stretch the right arm forward. Stretch the left arm underneath. Now you're welcome to keep that right hand stretching forward. Another option is to lift that right arm, bring it up and over, and tuck it into the left hip crease for the back. It's going to be a bigger stretch on that right shoulder there. If that doesn't feel good, just bring the arm right back down in front. And let's release the right arm first if you took the bind. Take it back out in the front. We're going to lift up, release the left arm, both arms stretch straight out in the front. And this time we're going to lift up, take the right arm underneath, thread that needle, drop down. You may find one shoulder is tighter than the other, so don't push yourself for the bind on one side if it's too much, even if you could get there on the other side. Perfectly normal. Sorry, I'm echoing here. Too close down to the floor. You guys stay right there. You can take that left arm around. I'm going to turn my mic down a little bit so it doesn't echo so much. Sorry. There we go. That's what I was trying to avoid. Is that okay? Can you hear me still? A little bit. Option to take that left arm, left arm up overhead for the bind if you'd like. Tucking the fingers into the right hip crease and sinking back down.
I'm walking slowly, I'm taking my time.
If you went for the bind, we're going to release the left fingertips first. Bring that left hand straight out in front. Slightly lift up, bring the right arm back, and then both hands out in front, big stretch.
I just can't get enough. Oh,
And from here, we're going to tuck the toes and we're going to walk the hands back towards the feet. Start to bring the hips up towards the ceiling. We will meet in forward fold towards the back of your mat. Let gravity do some work here. Let your torso hang, your head and neck hang and release. Maybe shaking your head no a few times here. Grabbing opposite elbows and swaying side to side.
Even the best of us sometimes
and then bringing the fingertips down towards the mat, you're going to slightly bend the knees and we're going to roll all the way up to the top. One vertebrae at a time, head and neck last to come up. And breathe. How are we feeling? Good? So we did some shoulder release, then we did some shoulder tension. We need some shoulder release again, don't we? Maybe at the end of class. So from here, guys, again, like we did seated in the beginning, big inhale, shoulders come up. Exhale, shoulders come down. Take the palms of the hands facing forward. Toes are straight forward. Legs are at least hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. And take a moment, close your eyes, maybe a little break. We're going to get ready to move into our lower body series here. You close your eyes and you're relaxing your hands. Try not to round forward. So you want to stay nice and tall. Keep that chest lifted and open. Relax those shoulders. A few more breaths here. Giving those shoulders some appreciation for the hard work that they just did. You guys did great. Opening up the eyes. We're going to step the feet even further apart. A really wide leg forward fold coming at you here. So I'm gonna step towards the back of my mat. You guys all look like you're going the same way as me. So step towards the back of your mat. And we want your toes facing forward for now. We'll take them turned out in just a few moments. From here, I want you to take your hands on your hips. Good. Pull the core in, so you have a nice tight core, and your pelvis is tucked. So basically, it's like you're between two panes of glass, or you're in a toaster. That always has a good visual for me. We're going to get out of the toaster, though, because we're going to bend forward. Don't get burned. From here, I want you to pull the core in super tight. That's where I was going with that. Pull everything in, and then shifting forward at the waist. Keep that core tight. You want to keep the back flat and come into a nice flat back position. Hold it here if you can. If that's too much on your back, release the hands and bring them down to the mat, which is where we're going in just a moment anyway. Your gaze is slightly forward. So not all the way up, because that's going to put pressure on the neck, but not all the way down. I want your gaze to be lifted. Hold here. If you can, extend the arms, reaching out forward. Big core work here. Reach those hands as if you're trying to hand me a present, because you're so grateful and thankful for me. Breathe here one more last time. Big inhale. Exhale, release the hands down towards the mat. Folding all the way, letting the back round a little bit here. So wherever you find yourselves comfortable here is fine. You may want to just have fingertips on the mat and keep your back lifted a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. You may feel good dropping down a little bit further, maybe coming onto the forearms and aiming the crown of the head towards the ground. Also awesome. Some people, if you have tripod in your practice, you're welcome to place the hands here, place the head, and take it up to a tripod. I said welcome. These are just options. So find wherever you feel comfortable, wherever your position is. Good work, guys. Stay here for just a breath, trying whatever you want to do. A little bit of free time here if you want to give that a whirl. If that's something you're interested in learning, talk to me after class. We can do a class on that. If you're in tripod, lift up slightly so that the crown of the head is no longer touching the mat. And slowly bend through the knees. Very gently roll the spine on up all the way back to the top. Good. From here, keeping the legs really wide, you're just going to turn the toes out. We're going to get ready to take it into goddess pose. So we're not stepping any closer. We're going to keep those toes pointing out. Think of the toes pointing towards the corner of your mat, the front corners of your mat. From here, I keep trying to tuck my hair behind this microphone. From here, hands come back to the waist. This time, instead of forward folding, we lower all the way down. So again, we're back in that toaster. We're in a nice straight 2 panes here. In other words, I don't want you leaning forward, I don't want you leaning back. I want the hips to be pushing right down towards the ground. I want the knees to not be going past the toes. You guys look great. Your goal here is at some point to get the legs parallel to the ground. If you're not there yet, perfectly okay. You go as far as you need to be. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, hands come behind the head. Did I mention core work tonight? I believe I did. So from here, I want you to stay in that toaster. We're going to take the right elbow down to the right knee. Twist down, or not twist, bend down. Inhale, back, center. This is where it's easy to start to wobble. You're in that toaster, left elbow, left knee, back up. Do you remember we did some oblique stretches in the beginning? Yeah. This was why. Over other side, back up. Legs are getting a great workout here, guys. Take it over to the left. You may be doing opposite than me, and that's fine because I'm facing you in same directions. My apologies if that makes it confusing. One more time, each side. Whew. Heart rate starting to come up a little bit here, maybe. Back to center, last time. Over to the left. And back to center. Release the hands up straight. Straighten those legs. Oh. Yes. Hands come down by the sides. Left toes come forward. Right toes stay all the way, go all the way to the side. We're going to take it to triangle pose here. Shifting the torso over and then dropping the right toes, right fingers down towards the right toes. Now you can have your hand on the shin. The one thing you want to focus on here, one of the things, you're pushing the left hip back and you really want your shoulders to be stacked. So that's what's important to me here. It's not how far that right arm, that left arm's coming overhead. I want the shoulders stacked. And if that means you have to come up taller, perfectly fine. If you want to come all the way down, that's an option as well. We're going to keep reaching those left fingertips towards the ceiling. Pull that core in nice and tight. Keeping those fingers spread really wide. We're going to take the left hand, we tuck it underneath. Arm comes in between the legs, we open back on up. Yeah? We tuck under. And up. Tuck under. Back up. On this last one, we're going to cartwheel the hands down around the front leg, so around the right leg. Turn the back toe very slightly forward. You're about 45 degrees. We forward fold over the right leg. Pyramid pose. Focus here on the stretch in that right hamstring, the back of the leg. You can stay right here. If you need to adjust the feet here, further apart or closer together, whatever feels good for you, or if you need to come up, that's perfectly fine. Modify as needed. If you want to take it deeper, you're welcome to release the arms, grab for opposite elbows, almost fall, and then forward fold. On your next exhale, release the hands back down to the mat, lifting the back heel, shifting the front knee forward. We come into a runner's lunge. Good. Inhale, arms all the way up, full lunge. Hold here. So our hips should be facing straight forward. Our chest is facing forward. We're on separate tracks with our legs so that our hips are able to face forward. Step that front leg forward if you need to make sure that the knee is not going past the toe. Inhale, hands come together at the top. Bring the hands down to heart center. From here, we're going to take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Ooh. Inhale, back on up. Lift the chest. Exhale, twist over. Core work. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last one. From here, guys, step the left foot forward to meet the right. Twisted chair. Good. Option to open up the arms here. Option, option. Keep them closed if that feels better. One more breath. Exhale, hands come back together. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps back. Inhale. Inhale, back on up. Woo, what do we do? Exhale, runner's lunge. Hands come down. Straighten that front leg. Come back to pyramid pose. Wasn't that fun? Walking the hands forward, both toes point forward. We come back to a wide leg forward fold. Hi. So finding your way back to your forward fold, remember we have options here. You can have just the fingertips down on the mat and a nice flat back if that feels good. You can take both fingertips off the mat, grab opposite elbows and hang. You can step wider, bring the palms down to the mat, take the crown of the head, and even coming into tripod if you like. Find what feels good and hang out there for 2 more breaths. And slowly start to make your way back on up. Very slowly. Take your time, bending in the knees and rolling on up, especially if you went super wide, getting the crown of the head down on the floor. Breathe. From here, the toes turn out. So again, those toes are pointing towards the corners of the mat. We inhale, the arms come all the way up. Behind the head, we come down to goddess. Remember this one? Yeah. So we reach those elbows really wide. You're pushing the elbows back because you're in a toaster. Take it over to the right. Stay. Sorry guys, I need to go the opposite of what I say. Back on up. Other side. What did I just say that? Other side. Keep that elbow open, so don't twist forward. We want to keep it open. Bring it back on up. We got 2 more each side. Take it down. And up. Hard to tell here what's working harder, core or legs. Also working shoulders because you're pushing those elbows back. One more time. I want you to make sure you're pausing in the middle. Swaying side to side is much too easy. Find that pause. Other side. Good work. Woo. Back to center. Straighten the arms. Straighten the legs. Yes. For me, it's right toes forward. Left toes turn out completely. Lower the arms down by the side. Breathe. Shift the torso over to for me, it's the left side. And then the arm comes down. Again, stack those shoulders. Most importantly, you can have the hand on the shin. Hand can come all the way down as long as those shoulders are stacked. Find where you want to be, where you want to stay. And then really spread those right fingertips and reach for the ceiling. And we're going to lower down, tuck that arm between the legs, and back on up. Keeping the core tight the whole time. Underneath, big twist, and up. Again, take it down, last one. Open back on up. From here, we're going to cartwheel the hands down on either side of that left foot or your right. Turn the back foot ever so slightly so that the heel goes slightly back. Forward fold over the left leg, pyramid pose. Feel that nice hamstring stretch. You can stay right here. Remember, you can always step the feet closer together if you need to. And if you want to take it a little bit deeper, you want to go for a little bit of a challenge, take the hands off the mat, grab opposite elbows behind you, and then lower down. A little bit deeper stretch there. More core work because you're balancing here. Cool. Don't forget to breathe. Don't hold the breath. On the next exhale, take both hands down to the mat. Turn the back heel. We come into runner's lunge. Did I say lunge? Runner's lunge, not lunge. Finding our feet on different tracks. Make sure that the front knee is not going past the toes. Hips are facing forward. Come on up for high lunge. Good. Hips and shoulders face forward, whatever direction forward is for you. Bring the hands down to the heart. We're going to bring the right elbow to the outside of the left leg. Twist. Inhale, back on up. Ooh, it's a hard one, guys. You're doing great. Twist again. And back on up. One more time. Twist. We hold it there this time. Keeping that elbow on the outside. Inhale. Exhale. Step that right foot forward to meet the left. Twisted chair. Hold here. Sinking low. Option to open up the arms. Option. Not a requirement. Next, exhale. Bring the hands back together. Inhale. Breathe. Exhale. Step the right foot back. Twisted lunge. And then inhale, come back on up. Hands are together. Good work. Exhale, both hands on either side of that front foot. This time, step that foot back to meet the right foot down dog. Whoo. How we feeling? Heart rate up a little bit, maybe?
Yeah.
Good. Shift it forward, high plank. Remember those chaturangas all the way down, 90-degree arms. Hold. All the way through for up dog. Push the hips back, knees wide. Child's pose. Good work, you guys. Hang out here. A few breaths, grab some water. Whatever you need. You guys are doing amazing. I think we hit all those keys I talked about. Shoulders, core, lower body. Take a few moments in child's pose. Or seated if that feels better for you. Whatever's relaxing. We have a little bit more core work to do before we finish. Once your shoulders relax here, you're welcome to take the hands down by the sides again. Palms face up to relax those shoulders a little bit more. Another option is to take the hands in prayer above the head or behind the head. Whatever feels comfortable. You guys find your best, most comfortable child's pose and hang out there for just a few more breaths. Slowly start to find your way up to a seated position. We're going to have a little bit more fun before we finish, before we cool down. We're almost there. Let's do a little bit more core work before. So coming into a seated position with your feet planted on the mat. We're going to start to grab the shins just underneath the knees and kind of roll on back. You can lift the toes a little bit. I want you to find that balanced position. That's why I want you to start rocking, right? So you don't want to go too far back that you're going to fall, but find right to where you can get to that point where you're right there. Good. Perfect. See if you can release the knees. Keep the legs there. Well, yes, the hands are on the knees. Release the knees. Hold here. Don't forget to breathe here in this modified boat pose. Now, if this is too much on your low back or your core, take the hands out by the sides nice and wide. If that's too much, come down to forearms. You're still working the core, so don't feel bad about that. It's a process to get here. This is not an easy pose to hold. I still want you to try to hold it. From here, I want you to take the legs out straight and the arms up straight. So we come to this little lovely L shape. Oh, we hover, we come back. We're doing 4 of these total, okay? L is for Lauren, yay! Here's 2. Come on back. L is for love yoga. Come on back. We got 2 more, guys. You can do it. Get as low as you can. Hover. Bring back on up. 1 more for me. Come on, you can do it. Hold here at the bottom. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on up. Ooh. Nice work. I don't think it's a hot flash. It's just hot in here.
It's totally different.
So from here, take the legs out straight. We're going to give ourselves a nice little stretch. Inhale, arms come all the way up. And we exhale, forward fold. Keep that chest open. We're lifting the belly up over those legs, reaching for the shins or the toes or the ground beside, wherever feels good. And breathe. Nice little core exercise at the end there for you. I was going to do another one, but your groans told me no. Let's save it for next week. From here, guys, we're going to come about halfway up and then start to take the legs nice and wide. So you don't need to come all the way back up, but stay low, take the legs wide, and then walk back down. I want this to be a nice slow process for you here. So take some time to let the belly get closer to the ground and just take the fingertips out about 1 inch with each exhale. So maybe you start up here. Exhale, maybe you can take it just a little bit further. And continue doing that until you feel at your stopping point. And then hang out there. Nice and slow and steady in this stretch is going to allow your muscles to release a little bit more. When we try to go too quickly into this, you're going to find more resistance in your muscles. Your legs are going to say, no way. No way, Jose. I'm not going there. But as you ease into it, they can gradually get used to each step. Maybe eventually bringing the forearms down to the ground. Maybe not tonight, but it's something that you can work towards. You can always bring the legs closer together. And then slowly, slowly start to walk the hands back. And then we're going to slowly work our legs back together. And take 1 more big inhale. Arms come up. And exhale, forward fold. Reach for those shins or toes. Last time. And then slowly, from here, rounding through the spine this time. All class, I've been telling you to keep that back flat. I want you to really round, really, really round. Tuck the chin to the chest. Roll on up, dragging those arms with you. Once you get to the top, we're not going to stop there. You're going to roll all the way down, rounded spine, letting 1 vertebrae hit the ground or your mat at a time. Chin stays tucked until you get all the way to the bottom. Stretch the arms overhead. Big full body stretch, reaching the toes far away from the fingertips. Getting the biggest stretch that you can, and then take those knees into the chest and give yourself a big hug, hugging the shins. Find a little movement here if that feels good, a little rock side to side. And when you feel ready, extend the legs out straight with a big exhale, taking the arms down by your sides, palms facing up. And we let the feet fall out to the side. And you have made it to final Shavasana. Yay! You've earned this pose tonight, guys. I want you to really relax here. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Relax your shoulders and imagine your body melting down into the mat, starting at the tips of your toes, going up through your ankles, your calves, your hamstrings and knees, your hips, your torso, shoulders, all of your arms, your neck, and your head. Start to clear your mind and take nice, deep, slow breaths. We'll stay here for a few minutes. I'll be coming around with some essential oil spray. It's a cleansing, uplifting spray with a little bit of clove for warmth. If you prefer no essential oils, please place one hand over your heart so I know to skip over. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes, finding some small movements, maybe stretching a little bit, nodding your head side to side. Take a nice big deep breath. And when you feel ready, roll on over to one side, whichever side feels more comfortable. Take a few breaths here, finishing any last thoughts you may have for your class, or letting go of any last bits of tension you have left behind, or even just a moment to have one more nice peaceful breath before we have to turn the lights on and get back to real life. From there, when you feel ready, meet me in a comfortably seated position. Just like we did in the very beginning, take a big inhale, shrug those shoulders up. Exhale, drop them down, bringing the hands up to the heart. Close your eyes for one last moment together. Be grateful for your bodies bringing you through tonight's practice. You guys did an amazing job. We worked through some tough poses. Also, hopefully finding some relaxation and having an opportunity to just let go and chill out and have fun. So thank you guys so much for coming out on this rainy evening to join me and allowing me to guide you in this practice. I had too much fun. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Namaste.